It's time to rank the top players that you can build your dynasty team around. These are guys that we're using as cornerstone assets. These are the top 24 to 30-ish players under 25. So if a player is 25 or older, they're not on this list. We have to say that every time, and we still get the same comment. But last time we did
Someone's
these,
still going to say AJ Brown.
this is more like I know. Every year he's not going to say it was 28.
One. Right.
Yeah, and last time we did this, I found an entire Reddit thread just completely trashing these rankings. And also people are like, why do we even do these? Like, what does this even mean? Blah, blah, blah. And most of this is for fun because it's fun content. But we're talking about the top 24 Dynasty Cornerstone rankings. And the S tier, it was Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase for a long time. And then it was Justin Jefferson. Now it's Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. And I don't think it has anything to do with CeeDee Lamb necessarily. I mean, CeeDee Lamb did what he did this year and showed that he was that elite wide receiver in fantasy and in dynasty that we needed him to be. But Justin Jefferson just lost Kirk Cousins. And for the time being, I think they're going, when you're looking at startup draft ADP, they're going within 1 or 2 picks of each other right now, pretty much consistently. Yeah. So these are both,
you got to listen to that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's less about our opinion and more about just what's happening with the fantasy market. And I think I agree. Like, CeeDee Lamb has earned the right to be the second wide receiver off the board in startups. And also back-to-back with Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson obviously taking a small hit, losing Kirk Cousins, but not that big of a hit. A tier.
Yeah, so the A tier, and this is actually going to be our S tier at some point pretty soon because JJF and CD, this is probably the last time they're going to be on this list because they're going to be 25
They're both
soon.
about to be 25?
About to, and within the next couple months.
Wow.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we are going to have at the top of this tier. He is ahead of Jamar Chase. I think at this point,
look, the same tier though. What?
Same tier.
Yeah. So you could do them the other way, and we're like, yeah, that's
whatever.
Fine.
And Puka Nacua as well in this tier.
Yep.
Talking about each one of them, Amon-Ra is just incredibly consistent, like more than any of these guys. Obviously, Puka's only played a year, so we don't know for sure yet. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is hyper productive pretty much every single game that he plays because he plays that slot wide receiver. He's a really nice yak guy, and he's just ultra reliable. He's an option literally all over the field at all times. Jamar Chase, I think of any of these guys in this tier, he has the capability and the athletic talent to be in the S tier.
Absolutely.
At this point, though, it's just availability, and the best ability is availability. Jamar Chase has been injured and has really cost you fantasy championships multiple years. And Joe Burrow, honestly, the biggest pro for Jamar Chase has always been that he's tied to Joe Burrow. And now that's kind of become one of his bigger knocks because we're starting to question, can Joe Burrow stay healthy consistently for an entire season? And at this point, it's enough for us to drop him down a tier because he hasn't been as consistent as J. Jeff and CeeDee Lamb. So I don't want to be negative about Jamar Chase because he's still up here, and most people are going to take him second overall.
Joe Burrow stays healthy, he easily has a bounce back year.
Right.
It's Jamar Chase.
Honestly, if Jamar Chase, if we were talking about Jamar Chase this time next year and he had been the wide receiver 1 overall, I would not be shocked.
Yeah, it's Jamar Chase. Yeah.
So
he's great.
Puka Nacua also, look, if Marvin Harrison Jr. went out this year and put up 1,500 yards.
He'd be in the S tier.
He'd be in the S tier alongside J. Jeff and CeeDee Lamb.
If JSN did that, he'd be in the S tier probably.
It's just because Puka was drafted in the 5th round.
I mean, which you then might say, okay, well then why aren't you ranking him there? We are realizing that he's playing with an older QB in Matt Stafford, and that situation may change soon. We are also realizing that Jamar Chase has higher upside, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has done that consistently. So Puka needs to do that. He needs to do it consistently. But that being said, same tier.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I'm a little bit more higher on Puka than even you are. I would almost argue
Puka,
to put him up top here. But again, this is more of a market thing. And also, Puka, man, what I love about Puka is he's like a smarter Deebo Samuel in terms of he doesn't kill himself trying to get the extra yard, but he is that strong after the catch, and he is a physical wide receiver that you can line up on the outside. You can do things with him in the slot. He is just absolutely lethal, and I'm super excited to see what they can do, what he can do with Matthew Stafford in his second season. Cooper Kupp really does help him. In my opinion, I think that really opens up the field for him.
You could put him at the top of this tier. You know why? Because that's literally what the tier is for.
Yeah,
they're in the same tier.
Yep.
And before this next tier of guys, you can get a team blueprint from us. Whether it's Superflex, 1QB, IDP, we do so many different type of leagues. Our goal is to help you win your dynasty leagues. the goal of Dynasty is to win money. Like, we're trying to help you do that. And so it's the blueprint. It's a comprehensive plan for your Dynasty team, multi-step. It's very in-depth. And then we send you the blueprint, and then you message us, whether that's 2 days after we send the blueprint or 2 years after you send the blueprint. We stay there. We walk through that process with you. We make sure you win your Dynasty League, or we give you the best shot to do it. So you get that. You get the rookie draft guide. You get our exclusive videos and our Discord community where we have over 300 Dynasty players over there now. Flockfantasy.com/domain. Make sure you use code domain. You have to use code domain to get the blueprint and the blueprint package. And also make sure you choose the Mother Flocker tier. All right, let's get back to it here. B, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be at the top. Look, Marvin Harrison Jr. has to get drafted, has to go to a decent landing spot, one that can support him being productive, and then has to produce. Like, we can talk about these rookies all we want.
Yeah.
But the rookies haven't produced yet. And so naturally, guys like Amon-Ra, Jamar, and Puka, who have produced, are going to be ahead of a guy that hasn't even been drafted to an NFL team yet. So we'll put Marvin Harrison Jr. here in the B tier. Jahmyr Gibbs right behind him. Jahmyr Gibbs as our running back one. We still like him situationally with the Lions on an offense that was 15 minutes away from a Super Bowl, playing with Jared Goff, playing alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. David Montgomery did not affect his production. It's not going to in the future. Bijan, same tier. So again, same tier. If you want to put Bijan ahead of Gibbs, fine. Brees at the end of this tier, same tier. If you say, okay, I have to put Brees ahead of all both those guys, fine. They're in the same. They're in the same tier. Our personal opinion, yes, but they're in the same tier. A guy that last year in an abysmal offense came out and was very, very good off of an ACL tear. That doesn't happen that often. Like, a lot of times you have guys come back and they're promising and they look good, or they do the Cam Akers, or they have 2 good games and everybody ranks them as the running back 5. But with Brees was legitimately good. He looked good. He was producing from a fantasy level.
Still very explosive.
Teams knew they were going to run the ball with him, and he still was scoring fantasy points. Yeah. So you have to keep him in the B tier with Bijan, with Gibbs, and rank him however you want. So it's not like we're drawing a hard line in the sand there. Bijan Robinson just got an upgrade at quarterback with Kirk Cousins. That offense is going to be humming. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for that.
There have been some real nice hyper-productive running backs that have been with Kirk Cousins while having productive wide receivers.
Now teams can't just stack the box against the Atlanta Falcons knowing that they're going to have to make Desmond Ridder throw the ball, because now you got Kirk Cousins throwing to Kyle Pitts and Drake London.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Can you really blame the Falcons for dang near overpaying for Kirk Cousins when their division is literally free for the taking?
It's literally like
you may as well just hand
4 free shots at a Super Bowl. There you go. Have fun. Because Baker's not stopping you, because Derek Carr is not stopping you, and because Bryce Young, right now, he's not stopping you. So, Garrett Wilson and Drake London, I'll couple these guys together. Garrett Wilson, it's amazing what he's been able to do with no quarterback. Expect him to produce a little bit higher this year with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, given that Aaron Rodgers is able to stay healthy. But Garrett Wilson, I think...
hopefully a little more than a little.
The QB-proof aspect of Garrett Wilson is enough to rank him here in the B tier for sure. Yeah. Drake London got a huge boost probably from the beginning of the C tier to the B tier here because of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins can support high-end wide receiver 1s and, high-end tight ends and wide receiver 2s. There could be as many as 3 or 4 productive guys in Atlanta this year. And Drake London, a guy that actually was producing at a wide receiver 3 level before Kirk Cousins. And you're talking about Desmond Ridder throwing him the ball. That's impressive enough. Yeah. The fact now that his situation has gotten drastically better tells me that Drake London is probably going to produce at a high level this year, for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't take much of watching Drake London to know that he is incredibly talented and can absolutely be a true
Don't forget, Drake London was a top 10 pick. Drake London was drafted before Garrett Wilson, before Chris Olave. Right? So let's not forget who Drake London is. He's also not even 23 yet. So
that's crazy.
Guys, Drake London is primed for a breakout year. Yeah. Sam Laporta is next. It's tight end premium. Sam Laporta is the tight end 1. Magnificent rookie season. There's really nothing negative I can say about Sam Laporta. He's in one of the best offenses, the best situation for him probably in the NFL. He is hyper productive. He's athletic. He's young.
Yeah. And at the top of the C tier, we will have Chris Olave. The reason he's a tier below guys like Garrett Wilson and Drake London, even though he's going to be in the same range as London. That may change now with the Kirk Cousins news, but Olave is still stuck with Derek Carr. And we know what Derek Carr is, and that really, really sucks. Now, Michael Thomas leaving, some people might make a bigger deal out of that than it actually is because he hasn't been playing consistently or very much, and he's not commanding that many targets. But Olave is still an incredibly talented wide receiver who has been pretty productive and had an impact on your fantasy football teams, dynasty fantasy football teams, through his first 2 years. More than we expected his rookie season, less than we expected his second year. I would expect Water to find its level his third year, where he ends up being a very productive, probably mid to high end wide receiver 2 is what I would expect.
Yeah.
If he was a low end wide receiver 1, I wouldn't be shocked, because I think he's that good, that talented, and can transcend situation. But Derek Carr just leaves a lot left to be desired at the QB position, and really, where are the Saints going? Like, it just sucks. I wish he was in the B tier. Malik Neighbors is going to be right behind him, and Rome Odunze are two, really from a value perspective, our two favorite wide receivers right now in Dynasty Fantasy Football among the rookies. And if you think Odunze should be over Neighbors, do it.
Sure, fine.
I have no issue with it whatsoever. I think there's a solid chance that Odunze is actually drafted ahead of Malik Neighbors. But look, these guys, uber talented. They would be the wide receiver 1s in their classes, respectively, if they weren't all together in the same class with Marvin Harrison Jr. Brock Bowers is going to be our third rookie in this tier, the tight end 1 in this class by far, and one of the more talented tight end prospects that we've seen in a long time. I mean, up there from a prospect perspective with like your Kyle Pittses of the world, which there's not many of them. And I think given a good landing spot, he's going to maybe even move up boards given expectations. Kyron Williams, still only 23 years old, going into his third year with the LA Rams. Are there long-term questions with Kyron? Yes. What do I always say after that? What running back doesn't have long-term questions right now in
all
the NFL?
Of them.
Every single one of them does. Bijan, Gibbs, and Brees all have long-term questions, just like Kyron Williams does. Obviously, they're more talented. They have higher upside, which is why Kyron Williams is a tier below all of those running backs. But we are higher than consensus on Kyron Williams, and I think his production speaks for itself and why we like him so much, because McVay, man, does he help those running backs produce.
Let's go to the D tier now. Rashee Rice, the wide receiver, 27 in PPR leagues, his rookie year, playing with Patrick Mahomes, playing on a Super Bowl winning team. Rashee Rice absolutely deserves to be ranked this high. And honestly, it would be really nice to see Rashee Rice take a step up from a production standpoint next year. It would be really nice to see him trend that way, because it would mean good things for his career. And we love Rashee Rice, and we loved watching him play this season. Zay Flowers, same thing. Zay Flowers was productive his rookie year with the Ravens. Now with Zay Flowers, I think he does have a couple more questions than some of the other guys in this range. However, you can't deny that he is the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. He was the wide receiver 31 from a PPR standpoint his rookie year. We need to see that go up this year. He needs to be probably a low-end wide receiver 2 to keep trending towards like this 5th round startup draft capital. Otherwise, he'll be in the 7th round next year in startup drafts. Like, he has got to produce. But I think that the opportunity is there for Zay Flowers. I think he's plenty talented of a prospect and a receiver to do that. So we like Zay Flowers. We like his price. Tank Dell also. Tank Dell is a guy who could easily be higher on this list had he played an entire season. Tank Dell playing with one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL in CJ Stroud. And also, when you're looking at what he was able to do last year, he scored 165 points in 11 games. I'll let you do the math, but it's 14 point something points per game.
It's good.
Quick maths. It's good. For a rookie, it's good. 7 touchdowns, right? This is a guy that showed the ability to be a wide receiver 1 on a team with a very, very good quarterback and a very high passing volume. That, to me, screams somebody who should be able to come out in his second year, recovering from injury, not being on the field for stupid goal line plays like that, come out, do a really good job, and also increase his value going into next year. We're hoping that for Tank Dell. We weren't in on him originally. We're obviously in on him now. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be next year. I have to keep him above guys like Reed and Addison and JSN, because I do think Brian Thomas Jr. would have probably been the wide receiver 1 in that class, don't you think? Him and JSN?
He would have been like...
Because think about it. Like, Brian Thomas Jr. this year is going top 15.
I would say 2 or 3 in that class, probably, just because of Jason's production pedigree was pretty insane. So
I think he would have, but I think he probably would have been the first wide receiver drafted last year, don't you think?
Possibly. I mean, with JSN going 21st overall, yeah.
So obviously we need to see, like, we need to see the landing spot. We need to see production. But again, like,
he did everything he needed to do at the combine.
Yes. And right now, yeah, he did. He looks like somebody who could be a 1. He looks like somebody who could be a 1. Devon Achan's going to be next. Devon Achan, very, very, I mean, like, insane rookie year. Now, he's not going to come out and score you 50 points a game, but if they can get him a consistent role where he's getting a touchdown or 2 a game, like, that would be fantastic. If they could just get him to be on the field consistently, to stay healthy, and to produce at the level he was last year when he was healthy in that Mike McDaniel offense, he's going to be a fantastic running back. Honestly, a decent price for him too right now. Going the 4th or 5th round of dynasty drafts, like we weren't originally in on Devon Achane, but as soon as we saw him produce, we were like, frick, we were wrong. Time to go roster that guy. I think he's a pretty good price right now. So hopefully he stays healthy the entire year because he is fun to watch. So F tier.
Yeah, F tier is going to be with Jaden Reed, actually. And this is another guy that we are significantly higher on than consensus at the moment. We kind of view Jaden Reed, Addison, and even Zay Flowers, even though we have him a tier above. Basically, whoever of those wide receivers and JSN, who's going to be a tier below, of those receivers, whoever's the cheapest, we're investing in. And right now, Jaden Reed is the cheapest. And he has a really good situation with Jordan Love, who helped him produce as a rookie wide receiver last year much higher than anyone
25.
ever expected. So love that for him. And Jordan Addison is going to be one of our bigger fallers. He lost a tier here because of Kirk Cousins leaving. It's not anything against Addison as a talent. We've always liked him as a talent. Our opinion of him going into his rookie year with the Vikings when a lot of people weren't necessarily super high on him. But that could change given, what QB they draft, if they draft a QB, what the situation is eventually going to look like. So this is kind of a pending spot for Jordan Addison. So don't dog on us too much because this could change quite quickly.
He could easily jump back up to the D tier where he was. Like he would have been in the D tier 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, Jaden Reed, who was the wide receiver 25 in his rookie season, and Jordan Addison, who was the wide receiver 23 in his rookie season. So essentially, like identical production profiles.
Yeah.
Although Jaden Reed was less touchdown dependent than Jordan Addison was. Actually, don't quote me on that. Jaden Reed had a fair amount of touchdowns too.
Yeah, I was just say Jaden Reed was he was relatively touchdown
that actually might
dependent.
be incorrect.
Yeah, but
they're the same, and Jaden Reed has a better situation, and we're ranking them in the same tier. So I feel like it's more than fair where we're putting him. Go ahead.
Jaden Reed has the capability of being the actual wide receiver one in that offense from a production standpoint, and Addison never will be. Trey McBride is going to be at the end of this tier. Honestly, we just don't really know what to do with McBride.
Yeah, I was right.
I'm going to be completely honest. We don't know what to do with him. We don't know if he's a buy or a sell.
I think
we don't know what the situation in Arizona is going to look like. Marquise Brown obviously just left. He went to the Chiefs. I think that's a big thing for everyone in that offense, for whoever's going to go there. If the Cardinals draft Marvin Harrison in the early first, then that could be a knock on McBride. It could help McBride. We probably have to do some more advanced analytics there, but I think this is where McBride belongs as, a top 6 dynasty wide receiver, and he's absolutely earned it. I mean, he was super productive last year with Kyler Murray. There's just going to be a lot of moving pieces in Arizona's offense, so there are some legitimate question marks.
I think
he's valued in this tier.
I think he's valued appropriately. Like, I wouldn't value him higher because he's going around the range where TJ Hawkinson's going, like around behind where Sam Laporte is going, maybe like a round and a half.
He's probably a hold.
And so like I think you look at Kyler Murray and the history of Kyler Murray with tight ends. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. would absolutely help McBride too. Like, I think any good receiver there is going to help McBride, and I think Kyler Murray is going to give him 9-10 targets a game. I like McBride's situation. It's just like, how high do you draft a tight end like that in Dynasty? Like, this is probably where. So McBride, again, rank him wherever you want.
It just depends on what you think his ceiling is.
Yeah. Last tier here. The G tier, we're going to start with JSN. JSN would have probably put him in the F tier had Tyler Lockett not come back. Maybe even the end of the D tier, like we would have been a lot higher. But, there are a lot of people in our comments even that are saying that they don't think Tyler Lockett's going to affect JSN. There are some people that think Tyler Lockett kills JSN. The answer has got to be somewhere in between. And honestly, I don't know the answer. I think both of those are possible. We're being careful with how we rank him here because right now I don't want to build my team around JSN if JSN is going to be the wide receiver 3 there. Now, obviously, if he overtakes Lockett, which he could, the talent is there, the profile is there. We know that. We love JSN. We just have to be careful with that. Dalton Kincaid and Kyle Pitts are going to be next. Kincaid obviously playing with Josh Allen, and Pitts now playing with Kirk Cousins, both on good offenses now. They both are young. Actually, I think Pitts is still younger than Kincaid. Pitts could easily jump up to the... Pitts could jump up to the B tier.
I mean, if he had a ridiculous season,
with his talent,
London,
So we're not going to do that because he did get a bump. Like, he's back on this list. He is still down here, but like, he could easily jump way higher than this. So we're just, going to wait and see on that one. And then James Cook, we'll put at the end here because James Cook, productive as a running back, a young running back, playing on one of the best offenses in the NFL. It's that simple. So you have to rank James Cook here. But again, we do the Dynasty Cornerstone rankings, not because it's like, these are the best young players in the... But it's just like, it's fun, and our job is to make content. It cracks me up. It cracks me up how many like comments I get about like titles, and I'm like, this is our business. Like, this is for fun. So you can rank these guys however you want. But we think it's fun to rank the guys under 25 in Dynasty. And honestly, I think people like it because we usually get a fair amount of views on these videos. So do us a huge favor, drop a like on this if you did like it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure, like I said, you head over to flagfantasy.com/domain. Use code DOMAIN to get a team blueprint and also get our Dynasty Domain rookie draft guide for 2024. Get our exclusive Discord, get our exclusive videos, all of it. You get to, again, daily. We're very active in the Discord, very, very active, so daily communication with us. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.